Okay, Pisces, what is going on with you for this week? Pisces, wow. Okay, great. Jesus. Okay, so a couple different things going on here with, wow. Monday the 4th, okay, we have talk of there's a time to teach and there's a time to learn. So that's a way of saying, you know, in everything there's a season. And I feel maternal energies, grandmothers, your elders, your ancestors, your aunties, your mentors, okay, living or deceased. Female energy can also be males who are in tuned with their feminine side. But it is about you understanding that you want to be pushing your life in a certain direction right now. You really want to be going forward. You want such and such a thing to happen. You have an agenda, but you also have a way right now of approaching your relationships and different situations with too much force, or you're talking too much. You're putting too much out there in general. And there's a time for you to be the teacher, to be the leader, to be the pusher. And there's a time for you to be quiet and to learn and observe and really be more silent, allowing for the universe to unfold. And I think that that's what you're going to need to look at those 2 days. Okay, where is the balance? And I'm feeling more on the quiet end. Okay, so be mindful that you can get a whole lot more out of things sometimes when you take your hands off of a situation. I'm also feeling on Wednesday the 6th that there is a need to send love to someone who maybe you feel you can't actually come in contact with. So whether they're deceased, they're sick, you know, there's some type of a boundary that has been set, or the relationship has deteriorated. Even if it's a part of yourself that you feel you've gotten out of touch with, a wounded child inside, you know, I feel that it's important to send love sometimes to situations and other people. And it doesn't mean that we have to reach out. It doesn't mean that we have to connect. If it's dysfunctional and it needs its own space, or it's too far to the past, or you're not physically allowed to be there for some reason, sending it can sometimes be even more powerful, okay, than actually making that connection. And often when we start to talk with people, it just doesn't kind of work out the way we saw it in our heads, you know? So send it. There was also talk on Thursday the 7th, be okay with it. So it seems to be resurrecting itself on that day as well. And this does seem very connected to male energy. So it could also be a female with a lot of dominant energy, but there does seem to be a male in your life, or males in your life, that are not really responding to you in the way that you would like them to. They may not be reciprocating love, and you may feel as though they've walled you out in some way. And it's possible that they're blaming you for something. It's possible that they're not just taking ownership of their own energy and responsibilities. And sometimes when people don't want to be in ownership of their own energy, they blame everybody else. So for whatever reason, they're walled off. And I have you needing to be okay with it and move beyond that. Now on Friday the 8th, there's talk of you being under the umbrella of God. And I thought that was really interesting, because while it was raining, it wasn't so much rain that I really feel it would have negatively affected you in any way. But and that can represent, you know, being overwhelmed when there's too much rain. But it looked like just the right amount of rain. And that felt to me more cleansing. And I also noticed that you were given an umbrella. Okay, so God said, this is the umbrella. It's like you're being sheltered. And there was talk of a mountain that you've been climbing. And now this to me looks like it's been there for a minute. So for some of you, I'm talking the last 3 to 7 or 8 weeks. For some, I'm talking more like 3 to 7 or 8 months. And for some of you, it feels like 3 years, okay, possibly 5 years. There's some type of a mountain that you've been climbing, and they marked you right there as X marks the spot, which is really almost to the top of the mountain, which means that you're really almost done with this process that you've been going through. And while I feel like you may have gone around the mountain a couple times and you may have been refusing, a couple instances where you really needed to learn lessons and just deal with it, you chose to keep going in a cycle. You're not anymore. And whatever you've done has gotten you to the top. So it's like a karmic payout. Okay. So I thought that was great. On Saturday, the 9th, there is talk of you reflecting backward on your life and what's been going on over the last 2 to 3 years. For some of you, maybe more like 4 to 6 years, but a reflection back on your relationships and some of the decisions that you've made in your life, maybe based on those relationships, or how your choices affected where those relationships are today, and what changes maybe you want to make, or what lessons you could sort of wring out of that. So it's not any one in particular. It was sort of everything. And on Sunday the 10th, we had a rainbow, okay, which is interesting because this actually went in reverse. So rainbow for me, that is the highest prosperity symbol you can get in my readings. That's pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, rainbow after the storm, hopes and dreams coming true. It's also, if you look at it the right way, it's a bridge from an old way of life into a new way of life. And so it's a brand new beginning. Okay. Something huge, really releasing you and allowing you to go forward. And I do feel like you earned it. On Monday, the 11th, there is also talk here of a love interest. And I would feel for the majority of you that this is romantic, but for some of you, it's just anyone that you hold dear in your heart. And there's talk of blame, or there's talk of the past, or there's talk of being stuck on things that had happened. And the message that Spirit has for you is, if you're going to go forward in attaining more, achieving greater love with others, or really being able to sort of level up and expand in your heart and in your relationships, you're going to have to heal that and let that go. Okay, so whatever it is from the past, it's sort of like saying you can't go forward, while you're holding on to all the burdens and baggage of your past. It's going to weigh you down. Okay, Pisces, have a great week.